Come on, guys. Happy Friday. It's Ann McDonald here with the Signature Course Challenge Workshop. What are we calling it? For service-based entrepreneurs. So I want to welcome you guys to the stream, day 5. We're live. And can we just share the screen? Because I want to highlight my VIPs. We got some fabulous businesses and future businesses represented here. So follow them, like them, buy their products, do all that good stuff. Hey, Bruce, including Bruce, right? We got Marilyn, we got Jill, we got Pamela, we got Karen, we got Kendra, we got Patty, we got Bruce. So I just want to encourage you guys as service-based entrepreneurs, there is a unique way that you and I have to bring our information products to the World Wide Web that is ever so slightly different than all the other service providers out there. And that's why I'm doing this challenge this week just for you guys. Is that cool? Awesome, awesome. Pardon me. I'm like, what is in my teeth? I didn't even have breakfast this morning. Okay. So today we're going to talk about 5 specific things that you're going to have to overcome for yourself and for your client to get your course online. Okay, we're going to talk about 5 specific things that you're going to have to overcome, not only for yourself, just say for me, that once you overcome them, you're going to be able to easily help your client overcome them in order to purchase your course. Okay. So let me know in the chat, whether you're YouTube, Facebook, in the VIP Zoom room. 1, if you already have your idea for your first course, just let me know. 1 in the chat. 1 if yes, 2 if no. Okay, Jill, yes, Kendra, Marilyn, Karen, Pamela. Okay, so we've got a group in the VIP, Patty, who already has an idea for their first course. Now, how many of you have an idea on your pricing for your first course? 1 if yes, 2 if no. 1 if yes, 2 if no. 1.5, I love it, Marilyn. Patty, Kendra, 2. We got some 1s, we got some 1.5s, we got some 2s. So I'm gonna presume that that's the same for you guys on Facebook and on YouTube. And by the way, thank you for being here. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give you some confidence. Just say, I'm going to get confidence, clarity on what to charge. Okay. What to charge. Okay. So let's talk about the ways that people can pay for your course. How many of you have ever spent a day at a sporting event? How many of you have ever spent a day or a bunch of hours at a sporting event? Okay, awesome. What about you've spent a day or a bunch of hours at a department store? You're like, I'm just going to go out shopping, right? You may not buy anything, but you just go out shopping. All right. How many of you have ever spent a day or multiple days driving? Right? You're driving from one place to another. So what are you paying with in that instance? Let me know in the chat, right? What are you paying with in that instance? Right? You're paying with time. So write the word time in that first space. The first thing that your future customers are going to pay you with is their time. Okay. It's the first thing we want to get a hold of. The second thing, how many of you have ever bought, instead of made at home, a cup of coffee? Okay. Anybody ever paid like $2.85 for a cup of coffee that you could have made for 35 cents at home? Okay. Patrick actually went out this morning and got me a nice big latte before we started. Okay. Didn't make it at home. He went out and bought it for me. All right. What about this? How many of you have ever gone to a hair salon and paid somebody to do your hair instead of doing it at home? Anybody? Okay. Right. How much does it cost to do it at home? I don't know, $7.98, right? Getting the roots done or getting the whatever. And versus you go to the hair salon, is it $7.89 at the hair salon? You. Okay. All right, I got one more for you. How many of you have ever gone to your water faucet and turned on the tap water and gotten water? How much does that cost? Right? Not very much. Versus you were out somewhere and you were super thirsty. How much is that water bottle when you're out somewhere and you're super thirsty? Yeah, 4,150, 4,150 PM. I love that. Right? Yeah. It's like super expensive. It's $20. It's 15. Okay. So what have we paid with in that instance? We paid with money. Okay. So one of the things that you and I have to address that other online entrepreneurs don't have to address. Okay, this is specific to us as service-based entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, decorators, family business people, or essential oils, education, ministry, training, decorating, design, physiotherapists, nurses. Any of us who are bringing our service-based business into the online space, we actually have to address how our clients are going to be willing to pay with their time and their money. Okay? Because likely, somebody doesn't need to pay me to buy a couch. Okay. Likely, somebody doesn't need to tell you or to pay you to tell them what to buy or what to do to get their hair done. Okay. They want to, but they don't need to. Does that make sense? One for my VIPs, if we're making sense. Okay. Okay. So here's what I've seen being in the, I'll just write this in the chat, online course creation. Online course creation. Okay. These are information products, right? Okay. What can we get on Wikipedia? We can get information, correct? What can we get on Google? Information, right? What can we get on YouTube? Information, right? So one of the things that separates the people who succeed in this space and the people who just create a bunch of courses that nobody buys. Okay. Are you guys seeing this what I'm trying to set up as two different things? All right. So courses that people buy versus courses that people don't buy. Courses that people buy and courses that people don't buy. Okay, let's go back to the first one. Why do we go hang out at the department store to walk around and shop? Why do we spend like 2 hours, 5 hours? Honey, I just need a break. I'm going to go walk around. Why do we do that? Anybody give me a reason besides you just want a break, right? Anybody give me a reason? Okay, sensory, right? Sensory overload. Get a little like dopamine hit, okay? Why would we, okay, dreaming, that's good. I like that one, Pamela. So inspiration, right? why would I go out to a department store and hang out and like walk around and just kind of enjoy it when I could literally go on to Amazon, click on what I need and move on? Right? Has anybody ever heard of, there's this company, they have these golden arches things. They're kind of a big company in the United States, love them or hate them, right? They got this guy named Ronald McDonald. Trivia. Okay, who wants a funny piece of trivia? My father-in-law's actual name is Ronald McDonald. He was obviously born before they came up with the Ronald McDonald, but his actual name is Ronald McDonald. Okay. All right. Can you and I get a healthier hamburger someplace else by making it at home? Yes or no? Okay. Can you and I get like all the other stuff that they make and sell in a healthier version someplace else? Yes or no? Okay. But this little company called McDonald's has these things called golden arches. And who knows the name of the thing that they sell to every parent who has little kids in the back seat driving through the drive-through? What is it, Karen? Unmute and tell us.
Happy Meal.
It's a Happy Meal, okay? Right in the chat, I am selling Happy Meals, okay? Right in the chat, I am selling Happy Meals, okay? I am selling an experience. Write that in the chat. I am selling an experience, okay? Not one of my interior design clients really needed me to tell them what paint color to pick out, what couch to buy. Not one. But they bought the experience of the happy to have an elevated lifestyle. Okay. So one of the biggest problems I see with online course creators is that they're selling the wrong thing. One, if you guys are getting this, we're trying to sell information, but where is information? It's everywhere. It's on Wikipedia. It's on Amazon.com in every book. It's on Google. It's literally everywhere. Okay. So the first thing that we actually have to create and deal with is the thing that our customers pay with first. And what is that? Time. And in order to get our customers to pay with time, we have to provide them with a Happy Meal, proverbially, experience. Okay? We have to give them a safe place to land. One, if that makes sense. Okay. Can I tell you, as a service-based entrepreneur, even if you've never created an information product before, if you get this right, you'll be ahead of 98% of the people in your industry. Okay. 98%. Because most of the competition doesn't know this. They're not aware of it. They're trying to sell information. And I'm not against the specifics. I'm not against the information, right? That was really cute, Marilyn. You guys didn't see it on screen, but her husband he was heading out and he just gave her a little peck. Guess it was very sweet. Okay, this is an experience. Makes her happy. Okay. That's actually a great analogy. In the same way, all you're doing with your first incarnation of your information product is you're providing free content that is a safe place for your clients to land, to have an experience with you, to get the dopamine hit, to get the ahas. Okay. Does this make sense? One, if this is making sense, because this is a super important thing. There are 5 things that if you'll hit these, game over, game won. Okay. Time. Your client will pay with their time, but in order for them to pay with their time, you want to create a happy place for them to have an experience with you that doesn't require their commitment. Okay. I can go right now. I'm at the cabin in Lake Tahoe. There's not much shopping here. Okay. I have to go over the hill into Reno. It takes me about 50 minutes on a good day. Karen knows this. I got to go over Mount Rose, and like the fanciest store in Reno right now is Kohl's or Dillard's. Right? And I'm like, I'll take it. I'm just going to go over to Dillard's and walk around. I'll look at the pretty purses and, it's not really that even fancy. But when I'm in the mood for a happy experience, I can go to Dillard's and not buy anything and just get some visual pretty. In the same way, just I want you guys to articulate this for yourselves. In the same way, just say, my brand provides a safe place for my ideal clients, trying to get the light right here, guys, my ideal clients to have a safe and happy experience, right? Before they buy anything. Is this getting any of my VIPs kind of an aha? Okay. Awesome. If you're getting any, just write even a little bit in the chat. Marilyn, did you want to share something on this? Because this is, go for it. It's all good, guys. This, if I can impart this one principle for you before you go and create your first course, whether you work with us or you work with somebody else, I know I've won. Okay, because you're going to be ahead of everybody else in your industry. Okay. All right, I think, can somebody drop, I'm going to drop a link into the chat. If you guys can drop this into the YouTube and Facebook. We don't have many seats open. I just dropped it in the chat to the stream team. But we have an implementation day coming up. Awesome. Okay. So the first thing, what are your clients going to pay with first? Just say it out loud. Time. Okay. And how do we make their time worth it? What do we give them? Say it out loud. We give them a happy experience. Give them a safe place to browse. Okay. The walking trail, the department store, your brand. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about your brand and I want you to write this down. What is your brand safe experience like? Is it like a walk on the beach? Is it a walk through the purse department in Dillard's? Right? Is it going to Barnes and Noble and reading through all the new releases and books without buying them? Okay, write it in the chat. What is your free, happy experience like with your new clients where they're paying with their time? What is that akin to? Okay. Like having a cup of coffee with a friend. Jill, that's awesome. I love it. A breath of fresh air, Karen. I love that. Think about it. What is it like? Okay. So we have one brand we're working on. It's a meditation brand. And I'm like, it's like getting out of your own head. It's like smelling sweet scents. I like that. The aromas of heaven, the aromas of truth. Love that. Think about what that's like for your clients, because that will help you create the experience. Think, like, imagine your client for a minute. You've just created your first, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this light right here. You've just created your first courses. And somebody else is kind of in the same industry. And they're like just given the list and the facts, and it's dull and it's dry. But your brand in the same space is a breath of fresh air, like getting a cup of coffee with a friend, has the sweet aroma of heaven. Which brand's going to win? It's going to be yours all day long. Okay. So that's the first thing, right? Wandering throughout stores without any obligation. I love it, Marilyn, right? It's like you got the fresh cup of coffee, you're in a bookstore. It's totally cool. Okay, if I could jump up and down right now, I would. This is where the game's won. Because you got to get the vision, because you're a service-based entrepreneur and you're coming into the market with something that's going to change the game for somebody. But if we can't get their attention, we got nothing. Okay? Attention is the new currency. Write that in the chat. Attention is the new currency. Okay. So our free content, and we're going to talk all about this. We have a whole bunch of training on this if you want to work with us. But the free content that you're going to put out is actually an integral part of creating your first courses. Okay. So the first thing they pay with is their time. The second thing they're going to pay with is their money. Now, let's talk about money. Why am I willing to pay my hairdresser more than I care to admit right now to do my hair instead of me going to the Rite Aid right down there in Kings Beach and spending $7.89 on the root touch-up? Okay. Why am I willing to do that? Karen, can you unmute and say that out loud?
Her value.
Yeah, it's a value trade. Okay. So I think I'm pretty good. Like, I'm creative. I can get the roots not too bad. It doesn't stain my forehead too much, right? I think I'm pretty good. But when I think about the value that I get from her versus the value I get from the $7.89 plus tax to redo my roots, it's a no-brainer. Let's take that same value trade to a sporting event. So I'm in a sporting event right now, and I'm thirsty. What's the value of that water bottle in that moment? Right? Why am I willing to pull out a $20 bill or $15 and pay for a water bottle that I can get for 79 cents at Costco? It's valuable to me. So one of the first things that you're going to have to do once you've got your customers' time and you provided this beautiful experience for them is you're actually going to have to provide value. Okay. Now, there are a couple of specifics when we're providing value that the market tells us right now people really like. Okay. It's things like, have you ever heard the word tactics? You guys know what tactics are? Have you ever heard step-by-step, how-tos? Okay. When you're providing your first low ticket entry to your clients, you're going to want to provide them value in the form of, well, let me give you an example. Right now, we're doing a free challenge, right? And the value trade for the VIPs, they paid $47 to get in the VIP room. And we're spending an hour together every morning before the challenge to answer questions privately in a nice, safe environment. There's value there. In the same way, you're going to want to provide how-tos, step-by-steps, tactics, value to your clients in your low ticket offers, okay? Less than $100. Is this making sense? All right. Let me ask you a question. So why do you want to make information products for your service-based brand? Why do you want to make information products as a service-based entrepreneur? Even if you're in vocational ministry, why do you want to do it? What do you want to get back? Is it possible that you want to get your time back? You want to stop trading dollars for hours? And you want to make more money by doing less like FaceTime? Okay. When I first got into this game, I was overworked, underprofited. I had big revenue numbers, but I had very little profit. So I was overworked. I was like, the only way I get paid is to show up in person. It's like, who knows, like a babysitter? The only way you get paid is if you show up to babysit, right? Teacher, right? The only way we would get paid is if we showed up to teach the classroom, right? Designer, decorator, vocational minister, the only way you got paid is if you showed up to do the preach on Sunday, right? Software engineer, the only way we got paid was to actually engineer the software. So one of the reasons I'm so passionate about helping service-based entrepreneurs create information products that are actually really happy experiences, right? That your clients want to show up to, and that provide way more than information, is because it changed the game for me. So first time I did this, when I actually broke through, I think some of you guys have heard this before, I had a $495 information product. Write that in the chat. $495. At the time, my VIP day rate for in-person design was $2,500. Okay, so I would have to spend a whole day like working, moving things, talking, giving all of my knowledge away, and I would get $2,500. But I made this one information product. It's called Decorate Like a Pro System. I did a janky little sales webinar, and I sold the product at the end for $495. I made just under $5,000 on that first webinar. Patrick's rubbing his hands. And it was like, you would have thought that I was a billionaire. I was like, I'm rich. But I got the aha. Like, holy cow. I had unknowingly provided a happy experience. Hey, this is a free training. Come on into my webinar. Come on in and learn. Here's some pretty pictures. Here's some fun stories. Like, this is how it works for me. I provided the happy experience for free. And then I gave them an opportunity to take out some of their money and trade it for value. So that, Karen, they didn't have to spend the 20 years that I had spent trying to figure this whole thing out. So they're like, wait a minute. I can get your breakthrough for $495 instead of 10 years of sweat equity, 10 years of fighting with my team or my spouse, 10 years of pulling my hair out. I'm all in. One, if this is making sense. Okay. Any questions on that for my VIP? I want to make sure I take questions on that in my VIP. Just put them in the chat. Because if you will steward this, get a hold of what your client is actually paying with and why, then the course creation part comes easy. How many of you have ever asked the question like, yeah, but Ann, what do I include in my course? How many have ever asked, right? How many have ever asked like, yeah, but what do I put in my course? Right? Patty, right? Like, what do I put in my course? I'm like, if we don't create a happy, I'm going to call it a front end free, ungated experience for our clients, it doesn't matter what we put in our course. Because it's all information and they can get all the information they want on Wikipedia, Amazon.com books, YouTube, Google. Okay. But what they can't get from those things is an actual experience that you have curated and created for them, right? From a place of love, from a place of service. Okay. So we've got two great questions. How much time do you spend on free product? So great question from Karen. Who else has that question? Let me know in the chat. Like, how much time do you spend on creating free content, right? Pam? So here's what's really cool. There's this little university called Oxford University. Anybody ever heard of them? And there's this little company, they're called Google. They actually own YouTube. So they have research that shares with us that it takes about 7 hours of free, ungated, binge-worthy content for somebody who doesn't know you to begin to know, like, and trust you. Okay. Does that answer your question, Karen? So about 7 hours. Who can guess one of the reasons we're streaming this challenge, this free challenge portion onto YouTube? What is that part of? It's part of 7 hours of, hey guys, welcome. Like, I'm happy to teach on this. I love teaching on this because this changed the game for me. Right? And again, I'll say it, whether you work with us or you work with somebody else, you have something that the world needs. But if we don't package it up properly, nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to hear it. And so does that answer the question? 7 hours is really the minimum. Okay. The second question we have, which is a great question, how do you create that happy experience? Who else has that question? Okay. So I take a lesson from the department stores. Okay. I take a lesson from them. Why? Because they spend so much money figuring out what's going to bring someone in and give them the experience to stay and eventually play and pay. Okay. So what do they put at the front? They put things that smell good, right? They put things that look good. They put things that are easy to understand. Put your hands out, guys, and just say easy to understand. Okay. Now, I don't wear perfume, but perfume is, would you guys say it's easy to understand? It's like you pick it up, you squirt it, and it smells good. Okay. So in the same way, when you are creating your free content, you want it to make it easy for people to understand. You use phrases like, did you know? Would you like to know how? Here's something I've learned. Did you know there are 3 ways to deliver your content in courses as a service-based entrepreneur? There are 3 ways to do it. You can do it as the host, the producer, or the expert. That would be an example of something that's easy for people to go, oh, okay. Well, a host is somebody like Oprah Winfrey. A producer is somebody like Steven Spielberg. And an expert, let's say somebody like Matthew McConaughey, right? All in the media space. Oprah's a host, Spielberg's a producer, McConaughey's an actor. Yeah. So you have a service-based business. You can be the host, bring other people on. You can be the producer behind the scenes, or you can be the expert. Hi, right? Super simple. So when you're creating free content, don't overthink it. You really want to create a space where your clients feel welcome and they can get to know you, they can get to like you, they can get to trust you. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. There are a couple more things I want to cover today on this. So let's review, right? Kind of where we started and where we're wrapping up today. So my heart for you as a service-based entrepreneur is that you would be able to have a lifestyle business. Really, a lifestyle business. So you can get your time back. You can have financial freedom. You can grow it as big or as small as you want, but that you have something that you can powerfully steward based on your goals. Is that fair? Okay. Day one, what did we talk about? We talked about, I shared with you guys where I was, which was miserable. I looked great on paper and I was miserable. And I'm like, something's got to give. And I was like, okay, there's a way for me to do this. And I was like, I'm going to look at what I'm actually good at. I count for my ability. So just write this in the chat. I'll account for my ability. Write your ability in the chat. What are you good at? And no false humility. Don't write, I suck. Like, you're good at something. Okay. You're good at something. Right? We got on the VIP, we got deliverance ministry, we got international business building, we got design, we got teaching, we got like kingdom living, we've got family business, we've got like lifestyle. Okay. So that's the first thing I did. I just was like, all right, what do I got in my hands? Right? What do I have in my hands? The second thing I was like, well, truth sets people free. The Bible tells me so. So I'm like, all right, I deal in truth. Just right, deal in truth. And I'm like, what am I good at? I'm good at decorating. Truth, I'm good at training interns. All right, train some interns. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm good at decorating and I'm good at training interns, but nobody knows about it. So I had to market it. Write the word market. Okay. Now, I came at this whole thing like sales is icky. Who's like had that former belief, right? So on day one, I was like, yeah, I thought sales was a little icky. I was like, ew. But on day two, we unpacked how sales is actually service. Sales is love in action. How do we do that? Right? Do you throw a birthday present in a brown paper bag taped with duct tape to your best friend who you love? No. You market it. You wrap it up all nice and pretty. Okay. I don't think that's slimy. I think that's service. I think that's love in action, right? I brushed my teeth this morning. Why? So, like, I did it because I actually care. I don't want you guys like I brushed my teeth. I did my hair. Okay. So what do? We actually need to learn to market. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons I like to talk about time and money and creating an experience kind of on the last day. Because even though you might say, okay, Ann, I get it, when it comes time to do it, Do you know one of the biggest things people don't do? I shared this on day 3 and day 4. I actually shared it again today, is they don't actually put a price on their products and services. They don't put a price on their course. They spend a year making a logo and they don't put a buy now button. Anybody? Right? Any overthinkers? Any former overthinkers? Right? Former, right? So we're just gonna like let Jesus take care of that one. Like former overthinkers, no more. Okay. So we talked about like the different things that we actually need to put into our programs and services. What do we need to put in? Super simple. We take people from A to B. We don't take people from A to Z. Okay. And then today, there are 5 things that you're going to have to overcome to successfully create a sellable, scalable course. The first one is time. You're going to have to get your customers' attention with time. How are you going to do that? You're going to create a happy experience with your free content. Okay. One of the best ways to do that, Pamela, you asked that question, is deal in truth with their pain. Okay. We actually have a list of 30 different headlines that any industry can use that we're going to give to the people who come to our Clarity to Cash implementation day. When I start a brand new product or a brand new course for somebody, that's where I start. I start with the 30 pain points. And I'm like, I get it. I know what it's like to be all up in your head. You can't turn off the noise. You can't turn off the sound. And you're like, I got to get out of my own head. Okay. So we start with that. We create a safe place for our clients to engage, whether it's as serious as, vocational deliverance ministry, or it's as light as tabletop setting. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So time, money, in order to get that first pay point, we need to actually create something that they value. They value. Okay. They value, right? The word value. Okay. There are 3 more that I'm going to share with you. We're not going to go super deep on this free challenge because we only got a few minutes left, but I want you to write these down. The next one is fear. Okay. A lot of times your clients are afraid to buy the course or to step into the new breakthrough because they're so attached to their former identity. How many of you guys remember when when I was growing up, BMOC was 8th grade. You're like big man on campus, you're in the 8th grade, right? What happens when you get into 9th grade? You go to the big high school, you are like low on the totem pole, right? In the same way, you have a breakthrough. You're like a senior in high school, okay? And your clients right now may feel like they're in 8th grade. And in order to buy your product, they're going to have to humble themselves and come into that 9th grade spot, and they're not so sure about it, okay? So one of the things that we have to make sure and deal honorably in is the fears that our clients have. Okay? I believe people who are in service-based entrepreneurs are uniquely gifted at this. Just do. Because we have an empathy and we have an experience of being in the trenches, if you will, in a way that other people and other businesses don't. So I think that we have a leg up, if you will, when we're creating information products that help our clients overcome fear. Okay. The next two are shame and self-doubt. Now, who remembers when Patrick was talking about the frame that we put on the facts? Right? Sometimes we put a negative frame on the facts and we keep ourselves out of a breakthrough that's available to us because we're ashamed. Maybe we've tried something in the past and we failed. Okay. Guys, I flunked out of UC Berkeley, not because I was dumb, but because I chose that guy over my classes. Okay. I eventually went back and got my degree. I was actually quite smart. I was like, yeah, kind of like them, like, right? Now that I'll just tell you that locked me up. I was ashamed of it for years. And I'm like, forget that. I'm just going to own it. Right. But a lot of times before we can own it, anybody ever been like, I'm done being ashamed. I'm just going to own my flub ups. Like, yep, I did that. Mm-hmm. Right. Anybody ever gotten a speeding ticket? Right? It's like, you gotta own it. Okay, Pam's never gotten a speeding ticket. I've gotten a few speeding tickets, right? Cop comes up and he's like, do you know how fast you were going, ma'am? And I'm like, unfortunately, I do. I will own it. Okay. So sometimes the biggest thing we can do on behalf of our future clients is just own our own shame and just say, yep, I did that. So I'm going to tell you, I actually went to the storage unit to look for this. We've got to find the pop-up on this one. I made this product, this course. I took it to a conference. I had the big pop-up banner made, you know, the kind you get made at FedEx Kinko's, $80. I paid for travel. I paid for the table. I paid for, you know, the whole 9 yards. That product sold 3. I didn't even pay for my banner. That's how bad the product was. I couldn't give it away. It's called the Coffee Sleeve Fix. Could not give the flipping product away. I thought it was so good. I mean, I fasted the week before I made the product. I'm like, this thing is amazing. I'm going to take it to the conference. Bombed. Okay. Now, I can either be ashamed of that and not share that story, or I can say, yo, been there, done that. Okay. I don't like doing that, but I learned from that experience. And one of the reasons I talk about creating your happy experience for your clients at the front end with free content is that it gives you a testing ground. So you don't build buildings. You don't build courses that nobody wants. Okay, just write that in the chat. I won't build things nobody wants. Okay. So, how do we know what people want? First, they pay with their time. Write this in the chat. Second, they pay with their money. Third, they pay by overcoming their fears. And fourth, they pay by overcoming their shame and self-doubt. Okay? In order for us to create amazing courses and info products as service-based entrepreneurs, you and I have to overcome the same things. You and I can't give away or sell to our clients things that we haven't overcome. And one of the ways we do that is we put ourselves in rooms to learn things that we don't know that we don't know. Okay. We put ourselves in places where we're like, okay, I see the fruit. I don't know how they got there. I don't know how they did it, but I know I got to go. I know I got to try. Okay. I know Yoda says there is no try. Okay. Only do or don't do or whatever it is that Yoda says. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. The first thing, and write this in the chat. I want you to believe that you have something the world needs. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to put it on the line with a decision. So we have an offer that we're inviting you into. It's a single day implementation day. And you're going to have access to a room where people have paid at least $10,000, if not $25,000 or more, to be in that room. These are high caliber entrepreneurs. And once a month, I do a monthly masterclass. And I'm inviting you in to one of those masterclasses where we're going to help you create and finish, implement, if you will, your first fully finished course, deliverable in a professionally organized and structured Facebook group. Why Facebook, Ian? Guess where there are billions of people who likely need what you carry. We're starting off by inviting you into this place. You know you have a message that has been mandated by God to get to people, nations, the world, creation. But if we don't get it out of you in a finished form, it's going to die with you. Okay. So somewhere here, my team will drop the link for the implementation day. We are not holding a bunch of spaces. Okay. We're going to hold, I think we got 5 seats for this upcoming implementation day. 5. That's it. You need to be in the room. Okay. In closing, I shared this on the VIP. Years ago, I used to not finish my sentences because I was afraid to speak. I was afraid to share what I felt, what I was carrying in my heart. So I wouldn't finish my sentences. So one of the reasons I'm so passionate about pulling your message out of you and putting it into a form that people from across the globe can literally, easily, happily, joyfully engage in easily is because I know that I almost quit. I almost didn't do it. I almost gave up. So that's why I'm like into the camera from my cabin in Lake Tahoe. We got a ski cabin here in Lake Tahoe. It was an epic ski season this year, by the way. Our son who did ski team, he said it was the 4 best days he's ever had in his whole life. Okay. But I'm literally coming to you from inside the loft area of our ski cabin to invite you to our upcoming implementation day. Okay. And I'm going to end on a poem that I learned from one of my mentors. She pointed it out to me. She shared it with me. Her name's Eileen. and it's called My Wage. And it's by Jesse B. Rittenhouse. And I'm going to read this over you. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why, you must bear ask. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. It's time that you started asking of life what God designed you to ask for, so that you can reach the people that you are called to reach. All right? We will see you in the implementation day. Love you.